now it should be working. Hopefully that, yeah, sound should be working now. It should be good to go. Okay, let us jump on into what is going on right now. Let's take a look. I want to pull up. We'll pull up SPY. We'll see how SPY is about to open up. The market's about to open here in about less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes or so. Let's see. I'm gonna pull some stuff up on the side so we can see everything. Okay, everything looks good to go. Got the news stream in case anything happens. I have a bunch of stocks, at least I'm looking at, but for the most part, I'm just kind of be watching swings, looking to add dips potentially if I see something that I like. So that's really the plan for today. We'll see. I added one more new stock to the list. We talked about it on yesterday's stream. That's FAMI. I actually add this into a Robinhood portfolio as well because I'm kind of messing around with the Robinhood on the side. I added this because I like it down here, and we're seeing a lot of these pennies, these micro pennies as we call them, these sub $1 stocks, having these random pumps, and so it's kind of like a one by one. They're kind of just going, they're going, they're going. And FAMI's one that a lot of people loved, months back. They're an offering machine, so trash, company, at least, for now, they've been historically, right? But I grabbed it down here towards the low. So I would love to grab a lot more. I just grabbed a very small position, and we'll see how it goes from there. So this thing kind of flushes out. This could be, one. I wanted to at least have it in case we get 100% run. I'd rather be there than not, but I'm not in very, very large. So looking to ideally scale out of something else and scale into this, or if we can notice that trend, then yeah, I'll add heavier to this. NBY is one that was that popped yesterday. Take a look at this. NBY was at like 37 cents. And the thing popped to 54, so you had a 40% move right there. You're seeing a lot of these little poppers going. Pixie was one that just recently ran. Pixie's now here in the 130-ish area. It went from 78 to 2 something. NAKD was a penny, but now it's not. Now it's actually after the reverse stock split, they popped it up. So a lot of these little pennies are moving, so I wanted to at least have something there. CTK here in pre-market today had a little pop yesterday from sub 50 up to about 72. So you're seeing these types of moves, right? This thing from the lows, let's see, from its lows to that peak was 40%, 45%. So you're seeing these nice little moves. So that's why I wanted to at least grab some there before it gets crowded. I'm definitely not. That's not a stock I'd want to touch at all. After it's already up 20-30% from the bottom. No way. So being early, and that's it. BIMI is another one too. Look at BIMI. This is another one that has been a prior runner. Look at this, BIMI as we call it. I traded this thing, years ago. I remember this thing was a pain in the rear, but this thing went from 53 to 250. Now it's back down sub 50. So this could be one of those that has that history. It can easily pop again. So we shall see if this one wants to make a move. But today's the last day. I have some alerts that I should probably need to get rid of. Today's the last 2 days that we got to talk about what's going on in small cap land versus large cap land. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the new year opens. But it's one of the last days where you're going to get that tax loss harvesting. You're going to get the ability to say, hey, I need to cut my losses here and write that off against my income, my taxes. And so we'll see how that shapes on up. So the overall market today, so SPY opening up. Let's see what it wants to do today. It looks like it could be, it's been in the range the past couple of days. We go back to this. Here's your range, down towards about 476, up towards about 478.50 or so is like your range. And so we're kind of towards the top end of that range. And we'll see if we can break out of that range and go maybe 480 today on SPY. That would be a range break, which we really haven't seen, to be honest, the past couple of days. Really, we got a big move past like week and a half. But after that crazy extension from, the lows on the 20th, the thing went from, SPY went from the lows we saw on the 20th up to where it's now a 6% move pretty much. That's pretty impressive, but the past 2-3 days have been pretty just sideways action. And you see that a lot when it comes to it. When it comes down to it, you see that happen all the time after big moves on stocks, on the indices, and it's just letting the time decay, letting the premiums kind of bleed out. And so, that's kind of what you see. Everyone who chases is going to get screwed when you're playing options, and that's kind of how the game works. So that's the deal. But I figured I haven't done a morning live stream in a while. I have a couple stocks that I'm looking at potentially. I will let the morning kind of few minutes shake out and see if they make any sense. The trend that's been working has been prior runners. 2-3 days later, these are the ones to watch. So look, RETO, RETO, This is an interesting stock because I actually like this one. If it can hold up, I want to see how it handles the next couple minutes, and we'll see. But it might even run before I can even get in. But as long as this thing holds like that 125, I was like, I kind of like this for the third day play, right? As this thing hit its highs on the 27th, and now here we are a couple days later, 3 days later roughly, and this thing could be going for the secondary squeeze if this wants to hold up. As long as it holds up, the thing is, it should die, it should fall off, it should drop back down to maybe below $1. But if it doesn't do that, it becomes an impatient game for shorts, and it becomes like, okay, this is holding up, it's holding supports. That could give us a secondary squeeze out, and maybe you get a move from like this area right here up into like the 150 range, and I take profits into that move. That's an 8, 9, 10% move. Boom, take the profits and move on. So something like that is an idea. Let's take a look. Let's take TKT was a runner yesterday. I got out of that thing for like almost pretty much break even. I should have sold into that pop, but I ended up selling it back as it fell back off. I didn't like it. So if this holds up today, it could be another one to watch. Not a huge fan of that look on that chart. PTPI, let's take a look at this one. Another one that's been on the radar, at least as of late. Yeah, it held up so far. It dipped this morning, and it held up pretty much holding yesterday's lows. If it can hold up like that, this thing has another chance, I think, for a run too. I mean, it's just been same thing. The thing, has its extensions, it pulls back, but it holds higher lows, and it keeps the trend, and then just kind of pushes up, pulls back, holds higher lows, pushes up, rinse and repeat. So that's been another one, at least a good one to have on the radar. And then the last one is CYTO, was one I was watching yesterday. Yeah, take a look at this. As I speak right now, this thing is kind of holding up. You can even potentially play this, risking the 175-ish area. And then if this thing holds up, this could be a nice, actually, this thing was down 10% at one point today. This is going to be short sale restricted. So I should probably look that up and just to confirm, but this could be one that has a little squeeze out today too. So I kind of like this thing on dips, with the risk of like 175. So we can, we'll watch that too. If it makes sense, we'll see. I'm not a huge, day trader. I mostly like to swing. So we'll see how it goes. ICOA, let's take a look at that. We'll probably look back at a lot of these stocks and see that they all ran. That's probably what's going to be happening. I just don't like to bother with the first 5 minutes because usually it's just some weird action that you kind of get, some wild action. And we'll see, how this plays out. Let's see. Meanwhile, CYTO is going as we speak. But again, the market we've been kind of in, right? If you are swinging or even day trading, it's pretty much take your small wins. And so, for example, you look at this stock, and let's say it was on your radar, and you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to grab it with respect to, I'm going to grab it in the low 180s, and my stop is 175. Well, if you grabbed it in the low 180s, right? It hits 190, you can scale some off. You can scale a good chunk off. The thing is, why people love playing small caps, if you had a 183 average, let's just say, you already got 3 to 4% done. You made 3%, boom. On depending upon size, how large you're playing this thing, that's a good chunk of change, right? So people need to, I think at least right now it's been don't hold for the bigger moves, hold for these, take your gains and move on. So we'll see. Let's see what else I want to look at. I had that NAKD was one that was pushing yesterday. UTME naked's kind of pushing back off to the downside. This thing really didn't have it had a nice run off the bottom. It hit a nice 30% from the bottoms, but not really doing too much. And that's another thing too. Psychologically, actually SoFi was one I was looking at. SoFi, I have a call. I don't have much. Oh wow, look at SoFi. It's just shooting up today. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice. They get news. They definitely had some news yesterday. If I'm not mistaken. I saw them popping in after hours. I never looked into it. Let's take a look at what's going on here at SoFi. Let's see. Maybe they didn't have news. I don't know. Let's go to Seeking Alpha just to confirm any press releases. You can also go to the 8K filings. You can go to that if you want to too. No, nothing here on the press release side. BAM SEC. Let's see. Does BAM, not BAM, BAM SEC. What do we got on there? If this has some interesting info or something happened, maybe an insider buy or something, let's see. Do we have anything from... Oh, yeah, we got an insider ownership. Let's see if it popped up on FinViz. Yeah, someone bought Aaron Webster. This is on the 10th. They bought 1,000 shares. Not much. They bought 1,000 shares at $14.90. What do we got here? Anthony Noto. What do we have? 101,000 shares. Acquired, disposed. Let's see. Disposed of, acquired at 100,000 shares, disposed of 50,000 at 15. So a little insider activity, I guess, going on for SoFi right now. It's just kind of popping it up, which, I mean, I like. That's one of those things I think is a great signal right now is insider buys. I mean, what companies, what insiders are buying, what CEOs are buying their stocks as they're getting destroyed, because the ones that are not, that tells you like, okay, they don't think they have anything coming up. There's no products in the pipeline, whatever. And we'll see. Another thing with SoFi too is that they have the student loan repayment. They got pushed. The loan repayment got pushed to May, I believe, from ending on January 31st to now it's like May. So that is, I think, a somewhat of a downside, but also like that is going to be a pretty big surge, I think, for SoFi into next year. So I think you're pairing it up with a surge back into some more of the small caps. I think we'll see. SoFi has been hit pretty hard since the 15th of November. Guys, if you missed the stream yesterday too, and we talked about the 15th of November was like the day. It was the 15th was literally like the top, or like that relief bounce on some of the small caps, mid caps, growth plays, and then ever since then, sell off. And if you go to look at Apple's chart since the 15th of November, it's just been increased volume, and it's just been going straight up. Also, if you look at like ARK, let's see, ARK is a great one to look at just to get a feel for like what's actually happening in the market, like on these tech plays, some of these speculative plays. So ARK is up 0.9% today. So it's actually having a little bit of a bounce today. We'll see. Maybe today and tomorrow we get a little rebound on some of these plays, please, because we kind of could use it, right? At the end of the day, I mean, we'll see. Maybe people are trying to position themselves just ahead of time before we get into the January popper event, where you see a lot of these stocks that, people start, hey, if you do the math right, the 15th, you got to wait like 31 days for you now to be able to get back into the same stock for you to be able to like utilize that as like a write-off, right? The wash sale rule. So from the 15th on, so now you're kind of getting into a point where it's like, okay, now we're getting closer to it being 30 something days from the 15th, or now it's more than 30 days from the 15th. So people this might be like, okay, people could start buying in who took those tax losses on the 15th or the end of November. So that's something to watch. We'll see how ARK does today. It's kind of like one of the things I'm going to gauge. I'm going to be buying this. I just sold Tesla in my IRA. I had like a pretty nice, gain on that the past couple of months, right? So I can't complain. Tesla's coming back down 2% today. I guess maybe I kind of topped it, or at least on this top. Great, cool. I sold it yesterday. I'm waiting for that cash to settle. And I'm going to be buying ARK in the IRA, and we're going to give that a go for the next couple of years and see how it goes. So that's my plan, at least there. And they have a pretty big weight on Tesla, so I'm getting my Tesla exposure there. But also Tesla's made a big run, so if it pulls back and other stocks do better that have been getting crushed in ARK, then I feel pretty good about that for the next couple of years. That's kind of my plan for the IRA. I want to look at Robinhood. I got a notification. I have Robinhood calls in my other accounts, in my Robinhood account, actually. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, it's bouncing. It's up 4% today. So it's having a nice little bounce after yesterday. I thought we kind of would see a little flush and then pop. I have $18 calls on this out to February. So my speculation of the trade idea is really just, okay, what are we going to get? Are we going to get a bounce on this thing into the quick, January, February timeframe? And if we do get a bounce up into the 20s, I'm taking my profits, and that's it. I don't care to hold this thing long term, but I think that Robinhood under $20 is an interesting stock in terms of just value wise. I think this could be an interesting play, going forward. So especially with how they expand the crypto space. And if crypto bounces too, let me pull that up on the right-hand side so I can just get a feel for it. Crypto is up a little bit today. Not crazy. But if crypto bounces, then that's definitely been something that seems to help out with Robinhood, because they're very correlated to crypto. More crypto doing well, more users trading crypto, more users on their platform, because it's just people like to use Robinhood to trade crypto because it's easy, right? I guess, no commissions, no fees, none of that stuff. And even though the spreads are kind of nasty and the fills aren't great, who cares? Like, most people don't even know what the hell that is, right? So that's that. Let's see. I have some Son. Let's see how Son is doing today. Is it getting more volume? No volume. But Son is one that I was watching. We were watching the live stream yesterday. It's got loaded 2 times in the past like a week now, like some significant buys. But the price hasn't really moved too much. It popped, but that's telling me there's a load. Or you could also think of it this way, or those are some funds that may be getting out of a short because they have been shorting this thing for a long time, and hey, they don't want to be short going into January, and with catalysts up coming into the first half or the first quarter of 2022 for SON, they don't want to be in that. It's another one of these stocks that's sub 50 cents, sub $1 that I think is due for a spike, and it's had those spikes in the past, and we have catalysts upcoming, and they have a decent amount of cash for the next couple months. I think they're okay. Next couple quarters, they just raised in August. I don't think they're going to raise again unless they get a spike or they get some, they get a pop, right? Which I think will happen if and when they drop a PR, they drop some positive news, and then that'll be the spike, and that's where I get out. And then that's where I look to maybe you can go short, right? I guess you can play it both ways, right? So we'll see. Let's see. I'm looking at other stuff that I have. NSPR, a little bit of volume there. 220,000. 200,000 shares. 22,000 shares traded in the last 5 minutes there. So it's interesting. We'll see. I have some FAMI. FAMI's up 2%. Cool. We'll see how that plays out. And VISL trying to bounce. Yeah, VISL. It's like right down to the lows of last year as well. You go back on this thing, it's right back into a better spot. And the company fundamentally, I think, is way better than where the company was this time last year, because I've been following along. I think I traded this stock on the move up, but fundamentally they're in a much better spot. So we get some positive press coming out of them. Pair that up with a better market for small caps, and I think you're setting up for a nice little move there. Let's see how the market's doing. SPY is now coming down. Yeah, SPY pops a little bit at the open. Now it's coming down. I think you're going to be looking at on SPY personally. I think you're just going to be looking at like choppy action today and tomorrow. Really, I don't think we're going to get too much of a direction. We'll see. But it got up there it hit a new high, a new all-time high. So every day it wants to hit a new all-time high and then it come back down, do its thing for a little bit. Nice move on hood. Yeah, that's nice. If you got it under 70, that's awesome. I don't. I have my calls. I'm down on them. I was looking at potentially adding to one of those today if we got a further flush. Maybe we won't get it. It is what it is. But if it chills here and maybe tomorrow pulls back a little bit, I'll probably add one more call in the Robinhood account, and then we'll let that kind of go out into next year, and let's see if the thesis works out, right? Literally just letting the thesis play out and see how it goes. I do want to trim a little bit of this. I'm just going to trim 50 shares because I added a little bit heavier into NSPR. So I want to make sure in case we know there's downside if this hits today. I added in the 280s and 290s. So I'll sell a little bit over 3 just to make sure that if it does fall off even further, I can re-add those shares and kind of mess around, play with the core size, but then have the ability to kind of average in a little more if I needed to add down lower. All right, let's take a look at some of those stocks I was looking at before. Retail, if I like someone, I'll take it. Okay, retail's not moving, but it's holding up, and it's got low volume. There's a pretty big seller here at 140, so that needs to get taken out. But 35,000 shares just went through. Actually, almost 40,000 shares went through at 139. So that's something to watch. If that seller gets eaten up, I will probably I might take a position there, and look at this for the nice little third day squeeze out back up to 150s, and then kind of lock in gains, and that's it. Let's see. PTPI is another one I've been watching. It's kind of falling off, but as long as it holds the 350s, I kind of like this one, to be honest with you. If it holds the 350s, I think it's solid. I might take a stab at that one. TKT is on the list as well. If it holds up, it's not. I don't like that chart as much, but we'll give it some more time. See how it does throughout the day. CYTO is looking a lot nicer, to be honest with you. This is down 10%, so we have achieved the short sale restriction. So I'm going to take a position on this thing. I was talking about this. I kind of like it around this level right here. Let's take 500. Let's put a bid at 183 and see if we can get filled at 183. And then the risk on this thing is going to be the pre-market low. So 174 was the pre-market low. I'd say 175 is a bidder there. If 175 holds up, then I would, stay in. As long as that area holds, candles closing above that, a wick below is not something that I don't really care to panic sell into, right? As long as we stay above 175, bodies of candles and stuff, we're good. So that is the plan there. Vect, I'm waiting for Vect. Vect has been just a slow kind of grinder up, doing its thing. Wonder why we're having a hard pulling indices last couple of minutes. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little volatility. I mean, because I think what's happening is kind of like you're just chopping along all day. Like you're not getting the crazy volatility, the crazy price action. And then it's like a hard pull, sell into the close. I don't know. I mean, I think to be honest with you, I think a lot of people realistically want to start selling their large caps, want to start selling their Apples and stuff and their bigger names because those have been on crazy tears. And if you're, I'm just thinking on the surface, if you're smart, right, why would you want to be in like an Apple right now or heavyweight in an Apple right now when it's up so much and there's so much other stuff that's gotten killed, and there's a lot of diamonds in the rough there. And I'm not saying that every small cap that's gotten beaten down is good and that's just a buy, and not saying that you just buy them all and they'll all go up. I don't think that's the case. But there are some, if you have done some research ahead of time, there are some really appealing small caps, not even like micro cap, not penny stocks. There are some small cap plays that, sub 10 million, sub 5 million, sub not 10 million, sub 10 billion, sub 10, sub 5 billion, even sub a billion market cap. There are some diamonds in the rough there that offer, at least I would say, a better risk reward, now than Apple does personally. That's how I would see it. So if I was managing a lot of money, that's where I'd be moving into. At least I'd be starting to move myself into some small caps or individual plays. I'm not sure about the overall indices because if the overall market pulls back, you're probably going to see IWM pull back as well. All right, we're in CYTO now. So we got the fill there at 183. And again, this is one that I'm going to put an alert just in case we drop below the 175. And that's it. So my alert's there. If it hits that alert, I'm not going to put a hard stop loss because I don't want a hard stop loss. That's going to be something that that's just something I just hate. And I'm looking to sell this thing up in the 190s, even maybe up towards 2. It hit down 10% today, so I kind of like that. And it's as long as it holds up here, second day run could go, red to green. If it does, where's it's down 10%. Where's the green? You got to go up to like $2 or so to start touching the green. So we'll see if we can get that. I'll watch that one on the list, and we'll see. Meme plays, a small cap. I don't know. That's honestly a really good question in my eyes because I really don't know. I would love to see them, have a little push, but at the same time, I also don't because if you look at like an AMC, well, right now is an interesting time because of how everything's been small cap wise, but AMC is getting rejected here in the 30s, low 30s. So if it can't get above there, it is what it is. GME, let's see how GME I think is looking worse chart wise. Yeah, GME is not done as well. Wish is interesting. Wish does start to catch my eyes now. Here, under $3 is like, okay, this is like a really appealing idea. I think now here at like $3, they had some change in CEOs or whatnot. They have a lot of like changes going on in terms of management. So that could be an interesting idea for Wish because if they're changing management and whatnot, right, and stuff's going on that front, then that could be the positive change that you need, right, for this thing. So we'll see. I think Wish is a lot more appealing, to be honest, if I was going to pick a meme play. If there was one that I liked, I'd like Wish out of all of those, Clove is also interesting too. I like the bottom ones. The bottom plays present better risk reward. And I don't know. AMC, I don't know. I think it could just be very manipulated the next couple of months. And who knows? Also, something I was seeing, look at this, NBRV. Here's one of my swings that, obviously I'm down on this, but let's see if we get a big move. It's a sub, it's a micro penny. It's a sub dollar stock. It was up at 140. This thing went from 140, which is hilarious. 140. I took some profits on that and then I added back lower. But yeah, I'm still down 63% from the highs. Nuts. So it's up 10% today almost. So this is interesting. So we got some volume coming in here. We'll see. This is one of those poppers that could be, a little pre-January popper where we get a little action. This thing kind of pops, who knows, 50% for no reason. I'd take profits if it does that. So we'll see. Yeah, that's that. Let's see. ZIM was so profitable this last month. Let's take a look. Integrated. Yeah, look at that. Look at that balance. I kind of had a trend that it kind of broke below and then it regained back up, and it's been solid ever since the dividend, looks like. Dividend came out on the 15th. It's been bouncing from there. let's go back to SoFi. I was looking at SoFi. I love SoFi. I actually have student loans as well that I'm going to be using SoFi to refinance. So I was like, I mean, the thing with student loans too, it's like everyone's like, a lot of people are dealing with that stuff, but like with the government loans being on pause, it's like, okay, well, I'm definitely not paying that, right now. It's not accruing interest. I have a private loan as well that I've been paying, which is a pain, which it sucks, but it's like, it kind of makes it easier. I've been paying the private loan instead of having to pay it all at once, like paying the government loans and those. So I've been doing that on the back burner because those were due, when I graduated pretty much. But I've been taking a nice chunk out of those. I've been paying a lot more than the minimum, which is good. But I'm going to refinance because I'm not paying 7% interest. Are you kidding me? I mean, there's no reason to pay 7% interest on a government loan when you can go refinance with like a SoFi and pay I think I'm looking at rates like in the 3s and 4s. So, I mean, that's going to cut my payment down massively. So, you can pay obviously more, which is huge. So I'm going to use them myself. So I have a call out to next year. And so I'm going to use it myself. I like it down here in this range. I really do. Maybe not buying it today. But who knows? It could go on a run where it goes green for 5 straight days. Who knows? It's done it before back in this range. So, obviously yesterday was probably a better day to buy if you were looking at it. Yesterday was your day down here in the 14s. Now you're about 15. You probably could wait for a dip or maybe grab a small position size if you don't want to, miss out, right? If you feel a FOMO, who knows? And we'll see. Hood, let's take a look at Robinhood. Robinhood back up towards 18. Look at that. Robinhood, a nice little day, 5% day. So, Robinhood kind of did exactly kind of be a little fake out there. It probably hit people's stop loss. It dropped below 17, hit 52-week lows. And, timing is interesting too, right here at the last week of tax loss harvesting, right? Hit those lows, and now look at it. It's popping on up, and it's trying to make a little run. We'll see. It needs to break this range. It needs to get over $20 for me to think, okay, this actually might go to 25. I'm looking at this area, 23 to 24. And 25, and then the 50 SMA could be a touch area. I mean, it's been beaten down so much. Do I love Robinhood as a broker? I mean, to be honest, not really. I would definitely recommend Webull instead of Robinhood for more of an active trader, or I'd recommend TD Ameritrade, or let's say like a Trade Zero. I recommend so many other platforms over them, but for the majority of people, it's easy to use. So they're going to get customers. It's easy to use for crypto. They're going to get that. They have the crypto wallets coming out. They have stuff going on that you can't kind of deny it, right? So under $20 was interesting for me, especially how this thing was, I think it squeezed out 85 because everyone wanted to short it because they hated Robinhood, and then it went crazy, and then it went, it shot up. So everyone wanted to short it. Everyone got on one side of a trade, or at least was thinking that way. I'm not going to buy it, and then they missed out and they FOMO'd into it, and then it's down huge. I mean, imagine you FOMO'd into Robinhood and you bought it up over $70, dare I say over $80, and you're still holding it now. I mean, oof, that's got to hurt like bad. So let me take a look at the airlines today too. Let's go to Jets ETF. Let's see if that's doing well. The markets are up, but not much. Dow is up the most, so let's see how the old Jets are doing. There you go, a little green day there, 0.72. AAL, let's take a look at American. I don't have American, but it's up today. Okay, cool. Save, Spirit is up a little bit. Cool. JetBlue, we're up a little bit. Cool. About Delta, DAL, up by 1%. Delta looks pretty good too. Delta's chart over $40 on Delta gets me potentially excited for a little, maybe a short-term breakout to the upside. Some calls could be a good idea. All right, Vect is up 2% now. Look at this. Let's see. Look at this, guys. This is a beautiful setup too. When you start to see stocks that get above the 50 SMA, this could be a really good pattern going forward the next couple of months. Stocks that have been getting destroyed, they have bounced back up. You missed the initial run. You can't time the bottom. You're like, oh man, I miss it. It's fine. They break the 50 SMA. They pull back, and as long as they hold that 50 SMA, they're usually setting up for nice runs. Some recent examples, I think APT is one. Yeah, look at this. APT recently broke the 50 SMA, got above. Guess what it did? From the 17th of this month through the 23rd, it held. It held the 50 SMA. It never closed below. Boom. Then it had a massive pop. This thing from those lows, you had a move of over 30 or 40%. Boom. I mean, that has been a nice, solid play. So that 50 SMA kind of bouncer is usually one of my favorite swing trade strategies back in, last year before. 2019 was a great year for that too. So it's something to watch. Look at this guy, NBRV. Look at this. I mean, I knew one of these days it's gonna pop. So we'll see if this thing, I would take something off up in the mid 60s to 70 cent range. We'll see. But the volume is a little impressive here. We're really talking volume that we kind of haven't seen. Well, this is going to close out in the next, I'd say the next half hour or so. So we'll see how these candles come in. The volume looks pretty impressive there. This could be a popper. If this thing goes 30% up on the day, I'm taking something off. And then we'll see. All right, meanwhile, take a look at our CYTL. I grabbed 500 shares, and I was maybe going to average in. I could have maybe added 500 more here down in the upper 170s as long as it held 175, but I'm not going to do that unless we get that average down opportunity. So it's trying to hold up. This is one that, hey, had a nice run yesterday, really nice run yesterday, could easily squeeze back out today as long as it holds up here. 175 is my key level for it to hold. Holds that, I'm staying in. As long as it holds that level, I'm staying in. So again, look at this. If I'm from right here, from 183 to that 175, I'm going to risk myself about 4 to 5%. So I need to see a 10% move. I think we can get $2, but I'm going to start taking profits in the 190s. If we get 190s, I'm going to take profits or start to, right? Probably 100 shares at a time, just scale it out, and that's it. Vect is pushing a little, not really. Vect is, I think, needs some real volume to kind of surge in here, and we'll see how that goes. VISL, look at that, back in the 120s. Okay, that little dip this morning. Could have added a little more. I didn't get there in time. Could have added it, but it is what it is. So a nice little, it seems like today, a nice little, I don't know, from at least what I'm in, is bouncing small cap wise a little bit. Nothing crazy, but we're getting some bouncers, so it seems a little better. We'll take a look at IWM here in a second. Are there any COVID implications for Chegg? Looks like it performed. Yeah. Here's the thing. Chegg got me through college. So I have to say, I love Chegg. Now it's bouncing here. This could be another interesting idea. I forget what it was. People, I guess, weren't using Chegg as much going back to school. I don't know what exactly the reasoning why it was. But personally, I would look a little bit deeper into why the absolute dump. It came down to an interesting spot. Okay, you go back to 2019 and even 2020, you're down to the lows, the pandemic lows. So now, I guess people working school, homeschooling, was Chegg a homeschool thing? I don't know. I don't think Chegg's going away though. I mean, I know kids in college, at least for me, my experience, this is how I got through college. I couldn't do physics without Chegg. I couldn't do some of those math problems without Chegg doing it for me, right? And what you do is, you get a couple friends together, you all, pool in, let's say it was like $20 a month or $15 a month, whatever it was. I don't know how much it is now. And we all pay $5 a month, and then you all have access. And then of course, you're studying for a test, and then, your friend also logs in, you get the email or get the notification saying, hey, someone else is logging in your account. Like, we're going to cancel your account, like get off. And it's like, you got the problem. Everyone's calling everyone up saying like, what do you get off the account? So that's Chegg. I mean, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think for leaps or just for a long-term position, obviously I would look into exactly what happened here on the earnings, which we can maybe even look into some of that too. But we should look into that before we even take a position. But I mean, risk reward here down towards $30, under $30 is a solid spot in my eyes. So I don't know. I think it's potentially worth a shot for a longer term hold. It's good. And you see how this thing had a crazy, this is a good chart. I think because you had a crazy move, right? 200% in the pandemic. Okay, great. You gave it all back, and now you're back down to where it was trading pre-pandemic. Awesome. That's a good reset on the chart, and you're good to go. Same thing with like a PayPal, right? The only problem with PayPal is that I think it's very kind of obvious. A lot of people like it. Now, PayPal is not back to pandemic lows, but it gave back a lot, right? It gave back all of 2021, popped to 300, so it gave back a lot. It's sub 200. I think sub $200 is a good spot for a long-term hold on PayPal. So, a lot of these stocks are kind of doing that. As you get in these types of moves, that's a nice reset on the chart, which I think is nice. So I'm guessing Chegg was kind of like that homeschool, kind of like that, hey, I'm not in class. I don't know how to do this problem. I need Chegg. I need someone to help me. I need a tutor. I need something like that. So I guess it's kind of the idea, which is why Chegg did so well. And I'm sure they probably saw a surge in, accounts and whatnot, which is probably why the stock moved as good as it did during that time frame. All right, look at this little MBRV, little bottom bounce. Again, right? This is why I don't like selling this stuff at the lows, even if this thing doesn't get to my average or it doesn't go as far as I want it to go, even if it doesn't, right? I don't care. I'd rather sell it on a day where it's up 10%, 15%, than sell it when it's down 10. I mean, yesterday at one point it was like down 7%. So, I added a little more yesterday. I did. And then now I, have a nice little move back today, and I made a few bucks back that, I would have, if by panic sold, I would have, screwed myself. Okay, here we go. CYT, let me put a sell here just in case it hits. This could be a nice little popper. I'm going to see if I can get something off there. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to do a little 191, a little 193, put a couple sells in place, scale that out. Now, of course, this is a strategy that I definitely want to implement more, probably going into next year for some like day trades if I'm available to do it. And I personally just I love the swings. I really do. But I mean, you got to adapt to what the market's giving you. And if the market's giving you these kind of like, hey, these stocks had crazy runs, they pulled back, but now all of a sudden they don't die, they hold up, and then go for a second little squeeze, then take that money where when it's there. So, and that's also a quiet name. It's not crazy volume. It's not super like, oh my gosh, everyone, it seems like Twitter is tweeting about it like, oh, it's going to pump. You don't have big accounts talking about it. Quietly let it do its thing, make your money and move on. So we'll see. But I mean, it looks like a decent day. Let's take a look at IWM. Honestly, it doesn't seem too terrible. Market's like really choppy. NASDAQ's up the most. Now NASDAQ's having a stronger day than everything else. Doubled up the gains on the Dow and SPY. Here, look at this. Look, oh, well, that's why. IWM is ripping face today. Look at this. This is up 1%. IWM is up 1%, whereas the S&P, the Dow are up 0.15, and the Nasdaq's 0.33. So small caps are clearly outperforming everything today, which is why you're seeing a lot of bottom bouncers. You're seeing, at least I'm noticing some stocks bouncing off bottoms nicely today. So we'll see. IWM is getting up into a spot that I think we're going to see some resistance. So we'll see if we can fill this gap, but we're getting up there. So cautious, but I think I'd be optimistic here going into next year that we can get up there and go. All right, Penn back up to 50. Penn is setting up where I see like an inverse head. We'll see how this plays out into next year, but I think an inverse head and shoulders here. Here's your inverse head. And so this could be setting up. If it curls right here and goes, this could be a back up into the 60s very soon. So I have those two calls out to 2023 that I'm riding. And I don't want to sell those, honestly, anytime soon. I love Penn's and their growth, their story and their growth that they're seeing. I literally just had to be buying that dip. I personally, of course, you had the Portnoy mess that's going on. And yeah, he's going to bring that to the table with a stock like this. But just looking at the stock, looking at the value, and looking at what I'm looking at based on that to DraftKings, I love it. All right, CYTO, we just took some profits on that. And we'll ride the rest. So those two shares, okay, look at that. We took off about 2/3 of the position. What is that? 200, I don't even know math. 200 out of the 500 shares are taken off the table. And we're looking for more. We're looking for a little more juice. I'm going to put another sell here at the 97. And then we'll ride the rest into, there we go. Look at this. Let's see if we get a little pop to $2. There it is. Boom. 97 hit. And if we break 2, I'm going to be selling into that pop. Let's see if we get it let's see if maybe it's a quick squeeze. 2.07 is on the next sell. So I'm going to set. Here it goes. It broke 2. Let's see if we can break to 210. So we got some sellers at 210. Some bigger sellers. 205, a little bit of a seller there, but not too big. I think it can easily get broken through. And so here we go. Let's see if we get a couple more cents. Hit that 207, and then we'll see if this thing wants to go for more. I don't really care if it wants to go for more. It's more like I'd probably put a trailing stop loss on this thing at this point, and let it do its thing. But that's nice. Nice action there. Sell the rips, buy the dips, as they say. I mean, that's a perfect example, though, of a solid risk reward play. So now you have, I risk this thing down 4 or 5%. Let's say I risk it 5%, 174. And now what are we up from that? We're up 10%. So perfect, taking profits on the 10%. Perfect 2-to-1. Reward to risk ratio looks good to me. If it hits 207, we're locking in nice gains, and I can't complain. That's nice. Neo, look at that. Neo's up to, hey, look at that. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Very nice action. So today seems like a day where you're getting a lot of that. A lot of those bounce backs. Neo has resistance up here in like the 30-ish area, like a little bit, like it needs to close 2 consecutive days, in my opinion, over $30. And then I like it really like that. I like it strong. I actually added Neo a couple days ago in the 30-ish area in my IRA. So, I mean, I don't really, let it do its thing. But Neo had a nice, very strong day there. I mean, I would say if there was a time for a short-term trade, I mean, puts up in this range for a short-term pullback, for maybe 50 cents a dollar is not a terrible idea because you're up into a clear resistance area. And I don't know if Neo's going to just pierce it right through and go straight up, 10, 20% today. I doubt it. It could. The news flow has been good for Neo. I mean, the news flow has been positive, whereas the stock has been just dumped. China fears, I don't know, all that stuff you got going on. China fears, you got EV kind of hype fading off. Except Tesla, I guess. I don't know. But Neo's having a strong day. Let's see if I can pull up. Is that giving me any data for the short interest on Neo, which is interesting. Which is really interesting. I'm not seeing any data down here. Usually you get Webull actually has short interest data. I haven't used it too much to say, okay, I it's super accurate or it's this. It's very helpful. But I'm not seeing anything right now. Let's see. I mean, at least I can go to a FinViz, right, and see what they say. I don't think there's that much though. At least in terms of float short, let's see. 5% of the float is short. So, I mean, not that much. What is that? 5 million or 50 million shares? I don't even know what the math is there. But this is not a bad idea, I think, for for puts, just for a day trade. If you wanted that idea right up into this range, it's getting up into resistance. So, this you could grab. Let's see if it even makes sense. I would grab this week's because it's, you're playing this week's. Grab 31 puts. They're trading around at just over $1 right now. Those go from 110 to 130, 140. Take them off, right? Make a nice little chunk of change, and that's it. So I if a Neo gets to 30, 50, I might take one or two, and then I'd average up, right? Average in on those against 31, and as long as Neo stays under 31, I'd stay in them for today. And that could be an idea. So let's see if Neo gets there. If it does, I might put a little alert there, and we'll see if it hits up to the alerts. Let's see. Create alert over 30.50. Boom. Set. So that's about 25 cents. So we can just kind of watch other stuff in the meantime. All right. You see how there's the short interest down the bottom of the screen now? We have short interest on other stocks. So I don't understand why we're not seeing it for Neo, but a lot of stocks will show you the short interest on Webull's platform, which is cool, but I don't know. Not sure why Neo's not showing it. All right, what is going on here? Look at this. This thing hit 205. That seller looks like it's gone at 205, by the way, on CYTO. So I think that 207 should hit. We hit 210 in pre-market. I think that my 207 should hit. And then obviously from there, if it really wants to go for a crazy run, then yeah, it could go for more, but whatever. Let it do its thing. So that's something that I want to definitely do more of, though. If this kind of stuff is working in terms of these kind of second, third day holding support and then they rip. Let's see. Is it just me or these biotech health microcaps starting to heat up? Yeah, it seems like they are. I mean, look at it. MBRV. Nothing. I'm just because I watch it. It's a healthcare, pharma play, biotech play. Decent volume today. I mean, look at the volume. Look at the volume. It's been consistent volume. We haven't seen that, right? Look back the past couple of days. We just haven't seen that volume. They're heating up. Let's look at XBI. Here's the biotech ETF. This is always good. Look at XBI. It's up 2%. So there you go. This is the biotech ETF. I think this is, if you wanted a play in 2022, buy some calls on this thing around the money, around, let's say, 110 to 120 range, I think, calls on XBI. Give yourself 6+ months on that, and you should not lose on that trade. Again, anything can happen, right? But there is resistance up here towards 121. You got resistance, so careful prior support. But I think we can break that and go up to 130s pretty easily this year. This thing has been getting hit pretty hard. So biotechs have not done well at all this year. And if you bought XBI, you are down at any point. If you bought at any point this year, you're down. So, yeah, it's kind of it's up 2% now. So let's see how this one plays out. But I think if you give yourself some time on any calls for this thing, you're probably fine. Let's see what Robinhood's doing right now. Robinhood teetering on that 18. SoFi, let's see what SoFi is up to. Up 7%. Look at SoFi. SoFi is about to break the prior highs. This could be even a play for breakout calls. It's up at resistance right here, but if it breaks this, which 1550 or so, it needs to break that. It probably goes to 1575 to 16 today. Wouldn't be surprised if we get that today. Up 6%. It's a pretty big, bounce for SoFi. I'll tell you that. Let's see. Back to CYTO. It's still holding up, so I'm kind of letting it do its thing. It's holding over $2 now, but you do have some sellers, though, in the 210 range. There's a bigger seller there, so I guess that's a little bit of concern, but nothing crazy. Volumes are nice. As long as this holds up, I'm staying in. All right, let's see. Dark pool short interest is higher on NEO. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see what's moving today. I haven't even looked. Let me go change the scanner on the right hand side. This will tell us now the top gainers of the day. SPCB is the biggest gainer today. They have news. Let's see. I don't know if they did. It's a prior runner. I've heard that name a couple times. Oh, here we go. They purchased. Oh, well, that's it. Chairman purchased 500,000 shares at the open market. Let's take a look at that. Is it popping on FinViz? Does it show it? Let me actually go to Open Insider. It'll be in the SEC filings. Oh, wait, what is going on here? This is new. Oh, wow, that's why. NBRV just got an insider buy. That's cool. CEO, shoot. Dang. There you go. Well, then I like my position there. So two of my larger, well, not NBRV isn't a large position. I didn't even realize. NSPR is one of my largest positions right now. Director just bought at 308. Additionally, added 15% to his position, which is cool. That's good to see. And NBRV added a nice chunk here. CEO added to he almost not double. He added 44% to his position. He added 100,000 shares at 57 cents. So that is good to see. So that's why NBRV is up. Where is it? 15%. NSPR, though, not up that much. A little bit of a pop, but not that much. So we'll see what happens here, But I think if that gets circulated around, people start looking at some of these, this could be interesting. SLGG insider buy, MDIA. I guess SPCB maybe isn't reported yet or whatever. I don't know. But that was the news. At least insider bought 500,000 shares. So it's up 50%. It was up more. Again, this is also up a little, a sub $1 popper right here. This thing is down under $1 and you're getting a nice, relief pop. So that's been interesting. We're seeing a lot of that. EFOI, they filed a shelf offering yesterday and they're up. This is telling us that we got some good stuff going on in the market because this was holding trend. I was actually looking at this one too as a possible, hold the trend and I'll stay in. They had literally a shelf offering filed, and which is like, okay, they're gonna drop an offer and they're gonna dilute, and it went up, which is kind of telling you when the obvious is okay, short it. It wasn't obvious. So here's what happened, right? Let's go to yesterday. News comes out, the stock actually went up, which is funny, and then it kind of came back and held up around 450, and then it pushed again now to 6 almost. So it's good stuff. Good stuff on that front. We're seeing some better action, I think, today across the board. Let's go back to NASDAQ is ripping right now. NASDAQ's up 0.5%. Look at that. IWM, this is probably up over 1%. That's up at 1%. Let's look at ARK. ARK Innovation is up 3. Wow, when we're looking at this thing, it was up like 0.8. Now it's up 3% today. So ARK is having a day. A little bottom bouncer type of day for them. Across the board, we're seeing a lot of that action, it seems like. All right, let's see how this guy's doing. CYTO, as long as it holds up here in the 195-ish area, I think I'm fine with that. Or I could just take the rest off here and look at something else. Let's see, is there anything else that I like? Let's go back to that list of possible ideas. Okay, PTPI, I like that. Against 350, I would not hold it below 350, but that's 8 cents is not a big risk. PTPI is solid there, I think. TKAT, how is this one doing? It's dumping. I'm not a fan of that, so that's off the list. And then RETO. How is this one doing? Okay, look at that. We were looking at this one too. The volume's coming in there. I wouldn't touch it now, but could certainly go. Your chance for this one was probably better off in the morning in the sub 140 range. As long as it held the 130-ish area. 125 was like my last ditch cutoff. But it's holding up. Got a seller at 145 right now. Pretty big seller, 260,000 shares at 145, so that's a little concerning, but I would say that's why I wouldn't buy it now, but that did exactly what I thought. It held its lows, and now it's going. So it's a pretty nice risk reward there on some of these plays. The best one now, I think, is PTPI. Has been a trender for a while. Look at this thing. It has been up, putting in higher lows, holding trend, and it's, as long as it holds 350 today, which, look at the bidders. You got some decent bids, a 10,000 share bid here at 350. Compared to the ask side, there's a lot more bidders there, at least in the short term. So I think we got a little move. That could be an idea there. So I might funnel out some gains from the CYTO and then just funnel it into PTPI, as long as it still holds roughly where it's at. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it's a little nice. It's honestly been nice and solid action today, it seems like. So that's good to see. Let's see. AMC's fading off. Let's see AMC. What's AMC doing? AMC is up today, but it pulled back off those highs. Okay, so it's IWM's up, AMC is up. Those two. AMC is the highest weight in IWM, by the way. So small caps are going to be kind of AMC's a good feel for that. All right, good one. What's your top 5 stock recommendations since New Year? Well, this depends. It depends on a lot of stuff. Personally, I'll tell you at least what I'm doing doesn't mean that that's what people should do, because ultimately, right, I don't want people just to buy stuff that I'm in, because people don't have the same plans, same risk tolerance, risk management. I have a couple that I like a lot. I like VISL this year as a solid play. I think down in the 120 range. It's at support that it's been at. The company past earnings reports have all progressed, and the stock has fallen off. Okay, so you go back the past year, they've made strides, really good strides, I think, based on their earnings, and the stock is down. I think it should be a $2-3 stock personally in the coming year, but doesn't mean that that's where it's going to go. So I love that one down here around 120. I think it's a great play. I also like NEO for a bounce this year. I bought NEO in the IRA. NEO is like a longer term hold, but I love NEO down here. Look at NEO, by the way, guys. We're talking about NEO for a possible short for today. It never got to my spot. It might, but it's kind of showing some resistance right here, which is kind of where it's been showing resistance in the past. So NEO is an interesting one there. I'm going to be buying, honestly, in the IRA as well. I'm going to be buying ARK-K. So I'm going to be buying ARK, maybe not just ARK-K, maybe a couple ARK funds, but I like the ARK ETFs. They've been getting hit. I think they're going to have a nice bounce back here in 2022. They took a nice pullback from where they were. Everyone's, look at Kathy Wood. She sucks. Okay, now it's the time to buy it. Personally, that's how I see that. And then small cap wise, there's a lot. I don't like to really say or give small cap, I guess, recommendations. I just say, at least I show every Saturday what I'm in, but I don't like to be in, talk about that stuff, because the reality behind that is it's risky, and it's like these things pop, and if you don't sell the pops, you're probably gonna lose. Like VISL is another one too, where the thing went and it had a couple pops, right? This thing had some relief pops where the thing went to 255 and then it popped to 225 from the 175 range. And, now everyone wants to hold for a bigger move, but if you don't sell those pops, I mean, what are you doing? That's the reality of small caps, and they could happen very fast, and you might miss it. So if you're not willing to be, watching it, have alerts set or be quick, then I don't like to really recommend small caps. Now, I would love for stuff to have sustained moves to the upside and hold up and do well. We'd love to see that, and we had a great run of that last year. So it was really easy for anybody. But going forward, that's kind of how I think it's going to be. These pops and drops, if you're not taking profits into those pops, you got to be careful. So there's a couple stocks there. NSPR is one that I like a lot. This is one that I think is going to have a nice run at some point. And then NVOS is another one I like a lot too. NVOS had acquired 7 pharmacies. That was not on their recent earnings report. Their market cap is 42 million. Those pharmacies did, I think, over 50 million revenue in 2020 alone. So I think that was also a year of a lot of shutdowns and restrictions. So those I think should do well next earnings report. So that's what I'm looking at there. And then there's a lot of other stocks that I'm also kind of on the back burner that I'll be looking at as well. So we'll see. SoFi is another one of those I love. And then the airlines. And then the airlines are my favorite plays, to be honest with you, by far. But, they're not going to be the massive returns, but you can play them options and you can make more. But like SoFi right now, 6% up today. I mean, look at the overall chart on SoFi. SoFi is down here in a really good demand zone and really good, support zone. So I love SoFi for a bounce back up into the mid 20s. I think we can get up to 23, 24, and we'll see how it goes from there. Who knows? Any positive news? Maybe this thing gets a bigger move. Earnings, that'll help for sure going forward. So we'll see. And then the airlines. So like JetBlue is one that I love right now. JetBlue is sitting here at 14.40. Okay, these pulled back huge. Had a really good, early part of last year. Like, look at this. Okay, so you go back to like this is kind of, let's say we're roughly at the same spot we were this time last year, same price point on JetBlue. And from this time last year into the next like 3-4 months, JetBlue in 4 months went 50%. Not saying it's going to do that, but if it can go 25, 30%, which is kind of my targets. I have a target up here towards 18. If it goes there, the options that I got are going to go 50%. So I love the airlines. JetBlue is one that I love. And then Save is Spirit Airlines. A little riskier, a little higher risk, but higher reward. I'm not as heavy in Spirit, but I love Spirit as well. This thing goes back to $30. So I think 2022 is going to be a huge year for the airlines to get to price in a lot of the future growth we're going to see, the travel boom and all that stuff that I'm expecting in the coming 5-10 years. So I think 2022, as we move out of COVID and as all that stuff kind of fades off a little bit, I know right now it's very real, and people are saying like more, they're noticing more and more friends, family, people that they know that have just gotten it recently. Now, not as bad as it has been, or people are having less symptoms and stuff, milder symptoms, but it's bad now. So coming out of that, as we peak and come off the backside of that peak of cases and stuff, I think you're going to see a boom. I'm imagining a boom in the airlines and the travel plays and stuff like that. So those are a lot of work and that's where I'm at. I have a lot of money tied up, a decent chunk of positions tied up in the airlines in some calls out to 2023. So I give myself plenty of time, but that's where at least I'm at on those. So that is it. SEAC holding up. Let's take a look at it. As long as it holds up, it's definitely, as long as it holds. I think 150 was kind of my level. I want to see it hold up. It's looking a little weak this morning, down 2%, but nothing that bad. 150s are kind of the area I would like to see it hold. So as long as that area is holding, But personally, I don't like this type of play. But again, if you're fundamentally looking at this thing and you're saying, hey, the value here makes, this thing for a market cap of 78 million doesn't make any sense. It's cheap. Then okay. If that's what you believe, and then that's, the chart's holding up, have your risk in place, and I think it's okay. All right, let's see. Anything else really moving? Not too much. DraftKings is strong. Let's take a look at DraftKings. Yeah, look at that. 4% on DraftKings today. It had an interesting, dump yesterday, hard dump, and now it's getting bought back up pretty nice. So it's funny how you're seeing like yesterday was like a huge. I think yesterday was one of the worst days of the year, to be honest. So for small caps, they got hit hard again yesterday. Maybe not the worst, but it was one of the worst that in a while. After it looked optimistic the past like 2 weeks or so, we kind of bottomed out. The overall market bottomed out. It seemed a little optimistic there, but DraftKings up 4%. Really nice day there. I think DraftKings is another one of those plays. You'll get exposure, I think, in Kathy Wood's ETFs. But I think ARK-K has DraftKings, if I'm not mistaken, unless she sold it recently. I don't know. Double bottom right here on DraftKings at 25, 26. Double bottom there. And this is poised, I think, for a bounce back year. And even if you get a bounce back year into the 40s, you don't have to go to all time highs. You go into the 40s on DraftKings, that's 50%. That's going to beat the market returns this year, I think, for sure. So I don't think you're going to see. I personally, I think it wouldn't be surprising today, this 2022, if we see like a 10% or less year on the S&P. I wouldn't be surprised, because we had I think the Apples, the big names need to cool off. Maybe they have positive years, but maybe they're not. They're just chopping around. I would be something I would not be surprised if that's what we get. So we'll see how that looks and shapes up. Penn is also kind of a sympathy to DraftKings. Yeah, Penn's up nice bit too today. I have two options there after 2023. So we're chilling on those. We're looking good. All right, come on. Let's see. You get a little CYTO action. It's holding up here, 195, and now we got to see a little flag break, go up the upside, break those highs, hit 210, hit that seller, and then I'll take my profits and I'm out. There's something to also be said. I go back and forth every day, it seems like, in my head with the portfolio thing. And it's like, do we just create a portfolio that is cash every night? I mean, not that I have to day trade every day. I will not, and I don't have the time to day trade every single day. But I'm saying, like, do you make a portfolio that's cash every night? And if you see an opportunity and you're there, spend, 2 hours in the morning from like open, or from maybe like an hour before open pre-market to like, let's say for me, it's like 7:30 in the morning to like 10 a.m., 2.5 hours, whatever it is. So I'm Central Time. I'm in Texas. Spend that time. And if you see a trade, take it. If nothing there, and that's it. And cash every night. And like let that be the, that's it. I wrestle with that idea all the time. Because the portfolio, mentally, it's like you see that the fluctuation, and mentally it's like, oh my God, well, if the airlines are down big one day, well, my portfolio is going to be down big because I'm heavily in the airlines and I have options. So those are going to go down 10 and 15%. And on decent sized positions, that's going to hurt, right? So it's like mentally it could be draining when you're playing like that. But, it all depends. I have other portfolios that I have, like the IRA. I have Robinhood. I have like another one that I'm messing around with. Robinhood is one that I'm kind of like messing around and like paying myself from, in a sense. Like I'm planning on using that to pay every month. I'm looking to see if I can, have a solid month. Let's see, the past month on the Robinhood, I have on the right. I can pull it up. Let's pull it up. I started with like 2,500 in here. Let's see. I put 2,500 in the Robinhood, and I'll show you what I'm in. So we're now at like 35, which is nice. So the past month, we're up $700. So we were at 26 earlier this month, and yeah, we're solid strides. I mean, 26. If I can do that consistently every month, that's killer returns, right? But I have some Robinhood calls out to February, so those are chilling. Vect was a nice one. I have an average from 352. I sold most of it already. I have 100 shares left to ride. As long as it holds up, I'm staying in. I bought some FAMI recently, 2,500 shares there, so $500 there. Nothing crazy, but if it goes and FAMI goes, on a 50 to 100% run, make a few $100 and that's it. And then I have NVOS. I have 1,000 shares, so it's a decent size. So I'm kind of riding on NVOS. I think that's going to be a great play at some point in 2022. So that's where my positions are, at least on the Robinhood. I was messing around. I had some CRM calls. I made some money on crypto. I bought some crypto. I don't have any now in Robinhood, but I was buying it. Where was I buying it? I was buying it like October timeframe. I made some money on that. No, maybe I wasn't. I bought it like back in here. I'd sold some on the pop. I forget exactly when, but I made a few bucks on that. And there's a couple other positions I think along the way that I had in there. But they're very short term, and it's like keeping it very simple. A couple of stocks, 3, 4 stocks, 5 positions max at a time, and that's it. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, if I can do that, and it'd be cool to be able to pay myself like $500 a month from the account, right? If we can do that, but we'll see. That's the Robinhood background, I guess, portfolio. What else we have? I'm going to be we have Trade Zero. I have made an account recently there, so I'm going to be using that soon. Probably more. I'll try to talk more about that at some point in the future. Mostly for shorting, and then because Webull for shorting is cool, but like the stocks that I want to short are going to usually be not available to short in Webull, but it's like for very short periods of time. So just be in and out on those. PTPI. Let's take a look at that. All right, this dropped below 350, so maybe this is not a valid play. We'll see. So good thing I didn't add it. We'll see. It's getting close to the trend line, so it could still be honestly okay until like 330-ish. But you'd want to see this thing. I would want to see this thing kind of hold up today at some point, and we'll have to see. We'll come back to it. But CYTO is getting a little bit quiet now. It needs to kind of break out of this little consolidation here. It needs to kind of either drop under 195 and I'll be out, or this thing's got to go 2+ again and get a little pop to the upside. A little bit of sellers in the low 2s, so that's going to be a little bit of resistance there. We'll see. Oh, NEO just hit our alert. I might take a little put play on NEO. Okay, NEO, reason why I like it for puts is because you're coming up to an area that it was prior resistance, really good resistance the past couple of weeks. So, and it's also up 8% today. Not that it can't go 10, but I think for a short-term pullback for today, a day trade, this could be a put idea. Or you could just go short shares. You can even do that too because it's a little bit less risky. Let's see how the options look. Okay. So if I was looking at NEO and I wanted to go short, I could take these 31s for like 85 cents and look to maybe sell it at $1 or so on a quick pullback. So I can do that. It's still been super strong, so you could look to maybe see how it goes, get the little extension. This thing kind of goes parabolic or it really extends up here, then I'll be looking to take that. Let's see if I can take that. I'm just going to grab a very small amount. All right, so Neo's pushing up. Let's go with 2 at a time. I'll go 2 right now. I'll buy 3 of these, and then I'll add 2. I'll do 1 add up against 31. I'm going to risk 31. If Neo gets over 31 and holds, I'm out. So I can get these now for about 80 cents. Let's take them at 80 cents or so. Maybe I can get 79. Let's see if I can get 79 cents. Pay a little 78. Let's see if I can get 78. Let's just put a limit order for 78. And if I can get those, that'd be nice. Just for a short trade. If it pops back, if these pop to $1, I'm out. So 78's on the bid, 80 on the ask. We'll see if we get that fill. And let's see how that goes. Because we're at resistance on Neo right now. All right. So here's the chart. What did it hit so far? 30.66, 67? Needs 30.66. Needs a little more of a pop and I'll get filled on those puts. Just probably honestly a target would be VWAP. So back down to about like $30. There we go. Those got filled. So now I'll add 2 more of those at 30 up towards 31, and then my cutoff is 31. If it hits 31, if it gets over 31 and holds, I'll take that for a loss. If not, I'm staying in. So I'm looking at this saying we get a pullback, we get 1 or 2 candles that are nasty red pullbacks. This hits VWAP, then that's where I'm taking profits on those puts. So we'll see. Kathy unloaded DKNG earlier this week. Well, there you go. So let's see. Actually, I have a... Where is it? Where is that page? Lucid tracking. Let's take a look at what we got on DKNG. She wanted, I guess she wanted to go in, or she's also looking at the tax loss season, I think, too, and she's got that side of things as well. We'll look at this, and we'll see if I can pull up DraftKings here in a second. Look at Neo. Look at that extension up. So I'll probably add a little bit of those. Premiums are actually like at my average, which is kind of good. They're kind of holding up nicely. So I'll add like a little bit more if it kind of gets up to that 31. But if not, I like where I'm at, and I think we can get a pullback here today, intraday, just for a quick little 10, 20%er on those options. Maybe they can go for more. I don't know, but I'm not gonna hold them overnight or anything. All right, this is taking too long to load here. Come on, I got too much stuff pulled up, I think. All right, so see how that this could be your exhaustion. This is your, I think it's your exhaustion candle right here, where you're gonna get a pullback because you had this increase in volume, extension up, broke this kind of little bit of consolidation, extension up. Now here comes your pullback. I would not be surprised if this thing pulls back down towards like $30 or so on a little bit of a dip. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe that's the obvious trade. Everyone's doing the same thing. Maybe not. Maybe Neo wants to keep going today and goes 20%. I don't know. But I'll stop out over $31. If it holds over 31, we're out. Also, I like to buy in the money puts. Because you're messing with too much time decay. If I bought the 30 puts, yeah, could they go way more? Yeah, percentage-wise. But I like the 31s. We're up a little bit now. I like those because you're in the money and, this thing pulls to $30. They're going to be solid. You're going to have at least $1 of intrinsic value. Those are going to be good. You're not going to have to worry as much with time decay and all that, fun stuff. Okay, look at this. Family got a little pop. Family got a little load here. Might have to take some, I'm looking for at least a 50% move on this thing, personally, on that. And we'll see if we get it. I'm still waiting on this. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can pull up DKNG. This tracks what Kathy's got. So she's still got shares. She's been selling for sure. But she has sold a decent chunk. So it's the weight in the portfolio, or in ARK-K, DKNG is down under 2% weight now. It's down under 3% weight in ARK-W. It's also down in ARK-F. So she's been selling. Now it's up today. So, should have been selling today, right? But yeah, that's what she's got going on at least. So, okay, look at that Neo pushing up again. Let's see. It's still got the momentum. It's still going. But look, again, I have a line right here. Now, okay, it's not like a perfect line. I have this line roughly in here, but you're also getting up into this range where, like, from here to 31 has been a pretty decent area of resistance on Neo. So we shall see. But I would need to see a couple candles close over 31 for me to get out. I'll add and then I'll get out. If a couple candles close and it starts to hold and firm up over 31, then I'm out. Take the L. Take the L and move on. But I did get a good fill though. I got a good fill. 78 cents. I mean, these are trading now for 77, so I'm only down 1 cent on those contracts. Pretty good. Come on, Center Rally. Hey, we're getting it now. Things are looking pretty good across the board. A lot of stuff is getting that relief bounce. It seems like today is the day. It looks like that IWM is repping too, up about 1%. That a lot of people are taking advantage of or trying to maybe get in before the new year to take advantage of like these rock bottom prices. Maybe, I don't know. Seems like that's what's happening today. We're getting Neo up 8.5%. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty big bounce. We haven't really seen that. I mean, in this short of a move. Look at the past. This is the 1 hour chart. We haven't seen a green hourly candle go up 9% in the hour. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So I mean, that's why I like my odds on the put side of it. But still, that said, I mean, I have Neo at long in the IRA, so I'm not a bear by any means, but. That's nice stuff. Let's see. Any other action I can note? Nothing there on like any of my small caps. There's some decent buying volume here on NBRV because they got an insider. The CEO just bought a good chunk of shares. Let's go back to that. Latest penny stock buys and sells. I'm going to change that. I mean, I'm loving that. The funny thing is my two holdings are on the list of insider buys, so you love to see that. So I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at on those. All right, Neo, still holding up. Still, it's been pretty firm, to be honest, right now. So I mean, I would say if anything, I'm a little. I'm ready to add to these, and then possibly take this for. I mean, I'd be fine taking loss. Why I'm not like. Again, if you're playing options too, you have to understand like your tolerance and your risk. So again, I mostly focus on my swings. That's my game. That's my bread and butter. That's what's done well in my history, my career, whatever, right? You want to call it. Like this, I'm not going to be playing this for a massive move. But on the options, right, if I get a move to $1 on these options, that's $25 times 3. If I had more contracts, $25 times however many contracts. So it's not if I make $50 to $75 on a small little scalp, I mean, it's not much, but it's like, okay, it's more than I had before. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't see it. So yeah, obviously as you have more confidence and stuff like this, you can play it heavier and play it more consistent, right? But I like to play it with my swings heavy. I have no problem tossing thousands of dollars into a small cap penny stock random company, right? Not random, but I have no problem doing that. But I'll shy away from some of these day trades just because it's not the bread and butter. I haven't proven to myself over a longer history of doing it that I can do it consistently. I've just been better consistency with my small cap swings. I also haven't traded options consistently at all, really. I've just played them long holds. That's really it. The ET5 is nice. Let's take a look at it. I liked it too. Let's take a look. It's pretty sleek. I mean, look at that thing. That's a nice, and this looks like an absolute replica of the Model 3 and the Tesla, right? I mean, it looks very similar to the Tesla Model 3. So, I don't know. People say, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know what you guys think too, but like people say they don't like the Model 3 and the Model Y Tesla because it looks like a bug kind of. It has like that kind of like bug like front look. I like it. I like it more than the Model S. I don't like the Model S. I don't like the Model S, honestly. Let's like the Model S Plaid. This looks pretty sleek, to be honest with you. I'll say that. But like I see some of the older model. The new ones I'm not gonna knock, but the older ones I don't like. Compared to like seeing the Model 3, I like the Model 3 better, just from a visually appealing point. And maybe people don't like this look, but the Neo one we just looked at looks very similar to this. So, whatever. Take it however you see, right? Neo copying, I don't know. They're all competing for, a lot of the same. They're going to be competing for the same customers at the end of the day, right? So, whatever. All right, let's see. Neo, I mean, I'm up on those. The premiums have the stock's kind of just chopping and staying right where I added those. The premiums are still, I'm actually up on those still, even though I think that stock's up from where I bought those. So, okay. All right, CYTO is not doing anything. This might be, I might just take this off the table because I don't want to mess around. Maybe I'll be, stupid on this, but I'm just going to take this off. It's taking too long. It's not getting any volume. I'm just going to get out of that for a nice gain on those. From 183 to like up to the 190s, and even I sold some over 2, I think. So those are good. Let's see. Neo, back to Neo, back in here. Let's see how these contracts. Yeah, 80, they're going 81 by 84. I have 78. Okay. You see how we're kind of getting a little choppy now. It's trying to like some, buyers and sellers are kind of fighting for it here. I think we get a pullback soon on these guys. We'll see. Hood high of the day. Robinhood. Look at that. 816. Look at that. Little Robinhood action. The Robinhood portfolio is up. Those Robinhood calls I have today are up 32%. That's cool. But I'm still down on my average, I think, from those. A little bit. Not too bad, though. And, hey, I mean, a strong day like this could signal, what we're looking at going forward. So this could be interesting. This could tell us we got something bigger coming next couple weeks, right? Some bigger rebounds on some of these names. People are trying to get in early on them. And we'll see. All right. Trying to look around. Cheap Kathy, Skills is another one. Skills, I think they had some insider buying as well. Skills, let's take a look at this. Skills in the 7s. Wow, this thing has gotten destroyed. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look at that chart. I mean, this thing has just obviously gotten rocked this year, but could be a really good rebounder into next year. Some opportunity there. If you want like maybe a longer term hold, I would look into them. Obviously, I wouldn't just buy randomly, but there you go. All right, Neo's cracking down now. I think we're getting a little pull here. Let's see if we can get this thing down to the. We probably need to pull to like. Let's see what the delta is on this thing. These options. Go back to the option chain on those. The delta is about 0.6, negative 0.6. So for every $1 move, we're going to get a 60-cent move in these. So let's just say it's roughly like 0.5. So for these, I need about a 30-cent move on this for me to hit the $1 target. So a 30-cent move, I need to see 30.30. Very doable. I think very, very doable on that. So that's what we'll be looking at there for the $1 target to hit. 30.30 on Neo. Take profits and then I'm out on those. Or we're flat, or it could be just flagging. Let's see the 1 minute chart. We're kind of just flagging along at resistance. Here it goes, trying to pop a little bit here. I'll look for one more ad and then we'll hopefully get a nice little pullback at some point. Down to VWAP at some point. VWAP is pushing up though. VWAP is probably going to be up over $30, relatively soon here on Neo. So we'll see. All right, let's go look around this thing. VISL, whatever. PTPI. Let's take a look back to PTPI. How's this was doing? PTPI. Yeah, look at that. It had a little hard sell, but it bounced a little bit. So some buyers there. Look at that. Fell right to the trend. Right to the trend line. Should have put some bids there in the 330s. That would have been nice. Right to the trend. Beautiful. Beautiful on PTPI. So, I mean, I didn't have any. I played some a couple of days ago for a little push, but if it holds up today, I think it could be worthwhile getting back in as long as it holds trend here. Looks like 335 or so is your support. So I mean, actually, right where it's at now is not a terrible spot. Risk reward wise, risk it down to the lows of the day as long as it doesn't break new lows, and I think it's staying in is just fine. Let's see. All right, Neo is doing nice. Neo is still holding up. I'm surprised it's held up this well. I mean, also you gotta understand, you gotta have a little bit of patience on a move like that. You could easily get a midday sell-off. Tesla does that too, where you'll kind of you'll enter a position, and then you'll think that you got the top, and then it keeps going a little more, and then I've done it before too, where you get out, even just like shorting it, just shorting shares. You get out, take your loss, and then you're like, oh shoot. You look back, 2 hours later, midday, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, it's pulled back. It hit your target and more, and you're like, dang, I knew that. I thought it was gonna happen. You get in a little bit early, a little premature. That's why on any of these option plays, I love to just kind of average in, always. not be too heavy right away. So like on Neo, we're going to need to average in, looks like probably soon here. I'm looking at 31 and I'm going to average in on those. We shall see. What's in Walmart? Walmart is interesting too. Walmart's been an interesting stock, and they're even a dividend play for like a longer term hold too. Well, I think Walmart offers something up for you there. Let's see. Walmart is like roughly red to green. Well, we'll see Walmart there. It's chilling. All right. Let's see. Let's see if I can find anything else. Pull back up to Neo in a second. Walmart's been an interesting stock too. I think it definitely offers a lot of upside potentially into next year, and it's also held up really, really nice despite the whole pandemic and stuff. I know people love Walmart. I just get like, maybe it's the Walmart that I go to. I just go to like a bad Walmart, but like I just get like weird vibes in the Walmart. I'm not I go into Target and I'm like, yeah, this is nice. Like Target's nice. And I go to Walmart, I'm like, oh man, and it's cheaper, so I can't deny that, right? I gotta love it for being cheap, but it's like, oof, I don't know. All right, let's see how that goes. Okay, Neo. Let's go back to Neo. Did it pull back? Did I miss a ad spot? Maybe. There's maybe your exhaustion. Here's a pullback. I mean, we need 30-30 for those targets to hit on that. It's still at my average. Just showing at my average on those. So we'll see. I'd be very surprised if Neo closed over 31 today. That would be great if it did, but I'd be very surprised. Just because you're at resistance, you're up 9%. You might end the day up 6, 7. That's still a great day. Don't get me wrong, but maybe tomorrow. Maybe the end of the week it closes up over 31. We'll see if it has continuation. Let's see. Back to this. Back to these guys. When do you think Neo hit in U.S. soil? I don't know. I mean, I honestly think it's a little, I don't want to say it's dangerous, but like personally, I'm not sure how that's going to play out. I really think this is just my take on things. I think Tesla, they're so far ahead as it is, just in general to a lot of EVs. I think Tesla is going to be the Apple of EVs. So I think it's going to be, now I'm not knocking anyone who has a Samsung. I like the Samsung phones and stuff. I have Apple products now because it's just easier. I like them and it's easier, but I think the Samsung technology is better personally, but I think Tesla's going to be the Apple of EVs, or just cars, honestly. Could be in the future. I mean, maybe in the next 10 years. We'll see how 10 years plays out, but it's going to be like, oh, you don't have a Tesla type of thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, drives you to work, drives you home, drives you to school, whatever. Not that other cars won't get that technology or have that technology. They will, but I think it'll just be like, I feel like the Tesla is in that kind of that frame. People will start thinking of Tesla like they do of Apple, right? I feel like these days. I don't know. But in terms of U.S. soil, I don't know. They have plans for the next couple of years. I was looking at some of those plans. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. I don't know if they want to, if the U.S. market for at least Chinese cars or I don't know. I think people right now, you're probably going to take some time. People are a little bit skeptical in terms of that. I feel like people will much rather just buy a Tesla instead, or buy, a Lucid, or buy, I don't know, whatever's going on in the next couple of years. So I think it's going to be difficult, but as you grow and as, either they have a better technology, cooler cars or whatever, like that's going to be the value proposition that they're going to have to present to, I would imagine, U.S. consumers. People will buy them for sure. I just don't know how they're going to compete and how expensive and all that stuff. If it doesn't make, logical, fundamental sense, for them to start there, I think it's going to be, there's probably other countries that make more sense right now. So that's where they're focusing, it seems like. But we'll see. I haven't been to Walmart in 7 years. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Something about the Walmart. I mean, I like walked in like one time and like these guys were like just going at it. Just there's like a full on like brawl. Literally at the entrance, like the Walmart greeter is like right there. And like these guys are just going at it. And I was like, what the heck is like, and then they stopped and then they just walked in different directions and left. I'm like, it was like the weirdest thing. I just stuff like that. I'm like, I don't need to see that when I'm walking in and getting my like apples. Like I just want to get my, my apples and my milk and my eggs and whatever and like go home. Like Target, I don't know. But I guess Target's more expensive and I don't know. Is NIO the next Toyota for EVs? I think maybe it's possible. Toyota's another interesting stock too. I don't think people even talk about that. What is Toyota's ticker? Toyota, I forget the ticker symbol. Well, let's go to it. Let's pull it up. Toyota stock. TM. I knew that. TM. I literally just talked about them like recently. TM is Toyota. Let's take a look at this. This is an interesting stock too. Looks like really like Shop City, but I mean, look at this thing. I think this is priming for a possible little EV extravaganza, little EV insanity breakout. I don't know. You're seeing like Ford and stuff. Everyone's going that way, So you're seeing a lot of them kind of make some good strides as they make that transition or little move to building out more EVs. Look at Ford. What's Ford doing these days? Look at Ford's chart. I'll go to the daily chart on Ford. I mean, look at this. It held up really well. I know a lot of people wanted to short this thing, buy puts up here, but it just never gave you that flush out to take profits on them. So Ford looks solid. GM, what's GM at? GM is up. No, sorry, it's Ford. GM is up a good bit. GM, I think, is back over. GM, let's see, their market cap right now is 85.1. And then Ford, I think, is like roughly 80. It's 82.9. So GM had a bigger day today. So GM has now overtaken Ford again in the market cap battle, right? So Ford just took over GM, and now GM's back above Ford. So they're kind of jockeying back and forth. But that's something that hasn't happened in a while. Haven't seen that. So that's good stuff. I mean, it's at least interesting and something that I at least haven't been paying attention too much to. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool to see. At least interesting. So let's see. All right. NIO, there's a little flush here. We're getting a little flushage. That's even a word. All right, I'm going to put a sell for 2 of these at 1 though. Because then we're going to get it at some point, but just I have it in place. And then I'll ride one more contract in case it keeps going down. But I think we got to see NIO hit 30.30. And then I'll get taken out. There's the pull. Here's the pullback. So there you go. All right. Up a few on it, but we'll see. Maybe I think we get it. No, VWAP is down at $30. I think we're going to probably touch VWAP at some point today. At a minimum. Now, VWAP obviously is going to keep kind of grinding up throughout the day. Now, it's going to float higher. Volume starts to kind of fade off as the day goes on, but it's going to float higher. VWAP will probably be up over $30 by midday easily. So maybe that's where they kind of hit down towards like $30, and we'll see. I want to see NIO close over $30 though for the for bulls, for that to be solid. It would be looking pretty good if it does close over $30. I want to see 2 consecutive days though if it do that. Ford's so cheap. I think Ford is going to be, I think that Ford won't be this cheap for long. I think Ford will be, well, you got to look at the market cap though. Ford's an $82 billion market cap. It had a crazy good year. I mean, this has been interesting to look back on and say, wow, you could have got Ford sub $4, in the crash. And I mean, looking back, obviously, hindsight and stuff, but 400% from there, I think you probably could still see a good 25+% move on Ford this year. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. So Ford, it could be another one. I mean, it's up a lot. It's going to be tough for me to buy something like that up here, but even if a long-term hold idea, from a long-term hold approach, I mean, maybe it's something worth your while. I don't know. This is broadening it out to the past, going back to like Ford hit 9 cents in 2009. Really? It was 38 back up in here in 1999. It was up around 38, $39 almost. I don't know. I haven't looked into any of their numbers either. I haven't looked at their earnings reports and none of that stuff, so I have no idea really what's going on there. Let's take a look at Rivian. This is a funny one because this was my hedge this week. Okay, I had puts. And I was like, okay, like I like this thing as long as it stays under $100. Obviously, it broke $100, so I got out of those puts. Now they took me for a nice little ride, took a little loss. Hey, it is what it is. Couple, it sucks. But I had this gap, and this is kind of why like the mental side of things is so huge. So I had this gap on this chart. It's like 107.50, and I'm like, hey, this is a gap fill. I think we'll get this gap fill at some point, and at that gap fill, that's where I want to short it. And I didn't do it because that day I got taken out as it broke $100. I took that for a loss. I could have re-added puts for the same week or for 2 weeks or go out a month or whatever at 107. And the thing ended up going to 97 yesterday, just under 97. Now it's back at 102. Market's green. A lot of stuff's up. Okay, whatever. But that would have been nice. So it's where, you kind of get hurt by something. I don't want to say get hurt, but you kind of take an L one day, and then that kind of fogs you for, the same stock or that same day. So you got to, it's a very fine line, right? You got to be kind of careful with that. All right. Let's see. What do we got? 30.66 on Neo. Just kind of floating around up here. I think this looks like Tesla. Like what it does, it has these huge moves, and then like you want puts or you want it to go down, you want shorts, and then guess what happens? It just trickles along all day, and it just lets you sit there and watch your premiums decay. Let that time decay burn you out, burn you alive, and then it's like, all right, then the move happens next week. So that's the other side of options that I hate too. I just absolutely hate that. And it makes me like, it really like, you might think, okay, I like this stock to go down. It just like makes it, makes it that much more difficult. So you got to make sure you know that stuff. And that's why playing them towards the end of the week after big moves is a little risk, because usually after big moves, they just they let those premiums decay. I like the Bronco a lot. You know what I also like? 2020. So let's look at the Bronco. Let's see. Let's look at the 2021 Bronco. It looks nice. I just saw someone I know actually has one. It looks sick. I like it a lot. I like the 2023 model of the Corvette. Look at this thing. I mean, this thing is nice. This is like, I was always a huge Mustang fan. Honestly, for where I live, I don't need a car. So it's like, you know what I mean? But if there was a sports car that I like this. I always loved the Mustang, but I think the Corvette beats out the Mustang in terms of just looks to me. I like it a lot. But if there was, I guess, if you want to go like supercars, I like the McLarens. I like McLarens a lot. I mean, they're sick. I don't like the traditional, I guess, supercars that you got everyone like, oh, Lambos. I don't care. If I ever had, Lambo money, that I could just be able to toss in a Lambo, I wouldn't buy a Lambo. Would not buy a Lambo. Definitely not. I'd like to have enough money to pay for whatever car I'm going to pay for, just passively, right, on like some dividend stocks or whatever, That's what I would like to do. Build that dividend portfolio. It's building. We're building it up, but dividends. You got to have a lot. You got to have a lot for that to be paying you passive to that degree, right? All right, let's see if we get this crack down here under 30.50 on Neo, and then if we get that, that's probably where I'll be able to take those profits and move on. So we'll see. But that's it. I mean, things that were kind of just chilling around. We're just hanging out, watching some stuff. We had a nice trade on what's it called, CYTO. Yeah, look at that. So good thing I got out. I got out at like 96, actually 97. I got out there and it kind of fell off. This is because it held up, and I've learned to just take the profits and move. I got in at 83 cents. I was going to risk it down to about 74, 75. And then I got this extension. I took profits into that extension up because it held up. It was a nice runner yesterday. It held up, and then, boom. If it comes back down to the 80s, low 80s again, and it holds up, I'll get back in and rinse and repeat, play it again. But that was a nice one. Other than that, I haven't added any of the swings. I added yesterday. If you guys were on the live yesterday, I added some Sun. I added some FAMI. I didn't buy a FAMI on the live. I bought it in the after hours. I had some of that. I added that in the Robinhood portfolio too. I did some of that. What else did I buy? I bought a little bit of NSPR under 3 in the 280s and the 290s, which we're kind of still sitting there now. It didn't really move. We got an insider buy there. What else did I buy? I bought a little bit of NBRV yesterday, which is now up 15%, or was up now up 12% today. So that's looking really nice. So, it sucks to sit there and say, oh man, my portfolio's down. But that, as long as you know what you're buying, it's been nice to, today's a reap the rewards type of day, sitting back and letting it do its thing, right? All right, so market's pulling back a little bit too. SPY is barely up, Dow is barely up, NASDAQ's up the most. So I think that little pressure could pull NEO down to where we need it to be. So we'll see if we get that. The Vet is a sick 100K is a bargain. That's the thing for that type of car. I mean, for the price of the Corvette, no, that's the thing. It's. I feel like everyone knows that, and so it's like the poor man's like supercar. But like at the same time, I literally don't care. I literally don't care. Like people could whatever. It looks cool to me. I like it. There's actually someone who has I think a 2019 or a 2018 in my apartment building. It's nice, a white one, a nice white Corvette. Dividend stocks you're holding. Yeah, the video that I had the other day. My top 5 dividend stocks, I think, for 2022. Those are the ones. That's where I'm at. That's where I like. Realty Income is one of my favorites, though. I love this one because they pay monthly. So Realty Income, beautiful. If you want to get into the real estate investment trust space, the REIT space, yeah, it's up a bit right now. So pullbacks are better, but you buy this thing and you literally get paid every month. It's like a 4% dividend or whatever it is right now. So it's not like a huge dividend, but the stock has been solid. The trend of the stock has been really good. The company, I think, is solid over time. I like it. Of course, they took a crash with the pandemic. That would have been a massive time to load the absolute boat up. Looking back, hindsight 2020. But yeah, I mean, you'd be up nice as it is, and then you're paying a dividend. So this is one of my favorites. And then on top of this, I like Walmart, to be honest with you. I like Walmart. As another dividend play. It's up a lot too, but I honestly think it's solid. I don't think it's going anywhere. So those are two of my, like, I would say I wouldn't say favorites, but those are two solid ones that I like, that I at least positioning myself dividend wise. I posted a video on dividends like literally like a week ago, maybe not even. It should be like one of the more recent videos on the channel. So that's check that out. That's a good place. But those are two of the stocks I think I talk about in there. So those are two that I like. Let's see. Back to NEO. See the premiums, like we kind of like NEO has just been shopping us up here. No, we got a pull. It pulled under there pretty nice, but we can a little bigger pullback for this to actually kind of hit my targets. So we'll see. Just kind of letting it do its thing though for now. Just bought a new Tudor Bronco. Oh, awesome. 528 days later. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for that stuff, but that's sick. Let's see. All right. I want to see what else. IMT. We've had having some decent like 25+% gainers. We haven't had like anything crazy. But like here's some of the top gainers for today. Like nothing like that really catches my eye. IMTE is interesting. It had a little pop and squeeze. ISIG. This is curling back on up, looking pretty good there. FTFT, EFOI looking. This is probably gonna fall off now. And nothing like that really catches my eye, to be honest. All right, let's see. Oh, NEO must be popping back up. Let's take a look at this. Ooh, look at that little squeezer. I'm going to have to add. All right, let's add one more of these. I'm going to add one more. I could really add a lot more if I really wanted to. It's not sized very much at all. I'm going to add one more there. 69. Come on, fill me. And then I'm looking for this to be a little fake. Well, it was a little fake out to the downside. So we'll trap some shorts maybe there on that. Tried to fade off and then bought right back up. So that's what that's doing. Fami's up a little bit today. Fami's up 4%. That's good to see. It's getting some loads, little here and there, little chunk. Man, this is a cheap stock too. Bouncing off the bottoms. Look at Fami off the bottom. Nice little bounce. I think we're going to see 30 cents fairly. I don't want to say easily, but I think we'll see 30 cents on that. Let's look at Boeing. Boeing's another one too for even a longer term hold. Look at this. This was our downtrend. We broke it. Now we're back below it. We're up right at it. I think Boeing could be a nice play for this year. Yeah, this thing looks pretty good. I think under $200 was a good spot to buy, personally. So that's just showing. Look at NBRV insider buys today. Look at that little insider buy action, little pop. The insiders on this bought. Where'd they buy? They bought this thing at 57. So take that with a grain of salt. Worth the wait. So many deals in this. Oh man, I think what's going to happen. It's going to be. This is actually a very interesting question because I think you're going to see. Let's actually go to Finviz because this. If you go here. Okay, so today you're seeing. Look at this. Today's a nice day. You're seeing way more stocks advancing than declining. Whereas, let's understand this too. The overall market, the S&P is barely up. The Nasdaq's up a good bit. The Dow is up barely. So the overall market's not like massive green where you'd think, wow, every stock is up. So we're seeing a pretty good buy side, imbalance. Like a lot more on the buy side, a lot more stocks up today than not, right? Way more stocks hitting new highs than new lows. The SMAs, that'll take some time because we kind of, those are lagging indicators of what's going on. So we'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. But my question is going to be, right? What happens to the Apples, the big name stocks that have been carrying the markets, the Nvidias? Like, what do these stocks do? The Facebooks, even, right? I guess Meta. What do these stocks do? I really think I've contemplated puts on Apple. I think Apple puts up here are honestly a pretty good idea going into next year. I mean, people are going to take their profits at some point, right? And so after the crazy run, I mean, maybe this is a good time into 2022. And so I think Apple, realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Apple under 160 this year. Under 150, I wouldn't be surprised either. I really wouldn't. Now, I've contemplated buying some puts. Only problem, again, on the puts, if you go to Apple here, let's look at Apple's puts. Let's see, what do we got? Go to options on this thing. I would want to give myself a lot of time. So I wouldn't want to just be like buying this and just like, playing it for a month. No, I would want to give myself plenty of time. So I would be looking out to like maybe June, July timeframe. Dare I say, I don't know. If you want to give yourself a lot of time, you go out to next year. You go out to like, let's see, if I go out to September, no, I want September 22 or January. If I go out to September of 22, right, and I buy some puts, there for 175 puts are $15. So you need Apple to be 160 just to break even. It's like, no, like you know what I mean? Like that could be a target to the downside. So you'd better be better off shorting it, right? Or just selling. If you're holding it long, you're better off probably taking profits here, like, first couple of days, first couple of weeks of 2022. And that's that. But the problem is that these have such a heavy weight on the indices that like, if these sell off, or kind of just chop around, that's going to make the market overall look choppy. The question is under the surface, does everyone go from like Apple to the small caps and stuff into these kind of tech plays? I think so. And we'll have to see how it plays out. I think so, because one of the also like the fundamental things that I think is huge is that, okay, these stocks have had the volume, they've had the money flow and all that stuff. So they've been great to play options on. They've been great to play whatever, right? All these big names, the Apples, Amazons and stuff, Googles, and even, the Facebooks, the Metas, the whatever, Nvidias, AMD, right? They've been great for that now, but when they kind of chop back or they kind of chill out, again, I take it back to this. Look at the weekly chart on Apple, okay? Look at how fat and how big these candles are. Now, of course, with the higher price, I understand, but I think the volatility is not going to be as strong, even if we just chop around, even if we kind of slowly grind up. So then the incentive is, okay, if Apple is going to be this volatile and it's not going to move that much, what's my incentive there? then, well, what's my incentive there? Why wouldn't I just go trade the stuff that moves? So then come to the small caps, the mid caps, and then that brings more volume there. So even if the market's down, the fundamental thought, my fundamental approach to this is like, okay, if the market's down, wouldn't that be better for small caps? If we're in a extended kind of choppiness or extended downtrend, wouldn't it be better for small caps? Because then the volume, the money flow goes there, because now there's incentive to play those stocks that are more volatile, that will offer better returns, manipulation wise, whatever, for big money. So then that's kind of my thought process. I think that's like, honestly, I kind of would love, I remember a day, it hasn't been this year. I remember a day when early on in my small cap career where I literally didn't care what the S&P did. I would talk to my dad about it and he's like, oh yeah, market's down today. I'm like, oh really? I'm up today. I don't care. Like I literally would be like, oh, I don't know. Like it didn't matter, right? Because he's also like following this stuff too, like very, very closely. And so we talk about it all the time. But this past year, it's been markets down, everything's down. Markets up, some names are up, small caps down. Like when do we I think we're going to break that connection, I think, if we do see an extended downtrend or, just slow period in the market, then where the money's going to go somewhere, and there's opportunities in small caps. So, yep, that's what I think, but we'll see. All right, Neo is just shop city right now. Never traded options. Yeah, so that's the thing. That other thing too. I can't tell you how many people I have been talking to and see on social media now who have gone from small caps to options, large cap options. Now that'll always be there, long, short, puts, calls, right, whatever. But I think the problem is going to be that volatility that we're seeing now, the range that you're getting on those plays to get those options, to make the options, fun to trade and nice and worthwhile. That range I don't think is going to be as big or as strong on the large cap side of things in 2022. But, we'll see. We will see. It's going to make for a very interesting year, I think, for sure, at a minimum. So it's going to be fun to kind of be around for it, obviously, and paying attention. So we'll see if this double down on the small caps, the past couple of weeks pays off. But the other thing, too, is that you have to also understand that if we do start seeing some crazy runs on some stocks, there could be a time where this could go on for a while. And my suspicion, or my at least next question is, okay, what do we see? Do we see it kind of be a consistent? There's now a trend. There's now a sector, and we see rotation. Like remember we had the rotation from cannabis to EVs to energy, and it was like weeks at a time of these sectors going one by one by one, and it was like, when one stock ran, there were 6 other ones that haven't run that you can load the boat on, and maybe 2 or 3 of them run, and you lock in gains. And it was like rinse and repeat, and that was a lot of fun too, because it was very nice to identify sectors, the rotation, all that stuff, and people I did too. Did very well during that time. So or do we just see kind of everything lift off at the same time? And it's like, okay, if everything lifts off at the same time, if you're heavily positioned in small caps, you're going to do well. And if you're not, if you're very kind of like, okay, I'm only in a couple at a time, not very big part of my portfolios in small caps, or I take a little bit at a time, heavy cash, well, then you could technically, I don't want to say miss out, but then you could be someone who misses out compared to somebody who's heavily allocated to small caps as it is. That is kind of like the next question for how things go. If we're first off right on the small cap rebound, then it's like, okay, well then how exactly does this rebound play out, right? So I don't know. It's gonna be a fun time, I think, for sure. All right, so Neo, I still haven't gotten my ad on the Neo contract, so it's literally like sitting like at my average. I'm a little bit down on them, but we're waiting for a pullback, and then I think we're gonna get it. If we get an extension, hit 31, break 31 briefly, that's where I'll add it, and then see if we pull back from there. If we hold over 31, I'm out. That's the thing too. Option. I had just made a video going over like options, like full tutorial basics, like for beginners. That's a good video too. I have a penny stock video coming Monday is the plan. It's actually in my editor right now. I'm editing it. All right, we filled that one Neo, so we average down a touch on that, and I'll add 1, maybe 2 more of those contracts if it does pop 31. Let's see if it pops 31 right now. Yeah, those are going to be good. Those are going to be some good videos. The penny stock video too, it's going to go over like everything from swings to day trades to manipulation, how this game works, the penny stock life cycle, all of that stuff. That's going to be fun. All right, let's see if I can get one more here. 59, let's put a 59 there, and if that hits, that would be money on Neo. Money. If that hits. This is also showing us though that for right now, while we speak, Neo is kind of, see how it pushed up, hit this resistance, and now it held the resistance, held up around it, and now it's pushing for more. That's pretty strong movement. So playing the opposite side, looking for a pull back to VWAP roughly is what I'm targeting now. Tilray is $7. Jeez. This is one that I knew, like, I hated it. I really, because for the past couple months, because every pop, it would just fade off. Every run, it would die. Every run, it would always pull back. And it's done the same thing. So Tilray has been a pain in the rear for those who've been trying to play this thing long. But again, at the same time too, Tilray, SNDL, these are not good. These are, compared to some of the US companies, these are not great companies. So the problem is that money flows to these companies because in the cannabis space, right, a lot of the US companies are OTC. So there's kind of restrictions. There's barrier to entry there. But on these are the ones that are on the major exchanges. So everyone kind of flows here. Money flows here, So that's kind of what we're watching. That's what we're looking at. And yeah. All right, I'm probably, let's take a quick look at the indices, how they're doing. Dow up 0.1, NASDAQ 0.5, SPY up 0.17. I'm going to wrap things up here. I have a little bit of short on Neo. What I'm looking at on Neo is if it holds over 31, I'll be out. But as long as 31 acts as resistance, I'm going to stay in on that. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't have a huge size there, but we'll see. I'm not going to lose big on that. So we'll see how that plays out. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button. That's all we ask. I'll